Dave Clawson becoming his generation's Bill Snyder. Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, breaking down all the Power 5 leagues, all the teams as we get you set for 2018, and we will get you to the college football playoffs and our predictions. But first, we've got to work through the standings of each league. We've made our way into the ACC. We've knocked out Syracuse, and now we arrive at Wake Forest. Once a doormat, long-time doormat, now a pretty good football program under, again, Dave Clawson. 8-5 last season with a bowl victory over Texas A&M. 4-4 in conference play. And this is basically what Dave Clawson does. He's been at Fordham, Richmond, Bowling Green, and now Wake Forest. And in his first year at Wake Forest, he went 3-9. Year 4, 8-5. And that's what he's done at the three other schools. Basically, if you look at year 1 versus year 4, a complete turnaround. It's going to be difficult for him to progress past this, but 8-5 at Wake is pretty damn good. All right, his quarterback, John Wolford, is going to be a huge loss. And had I made that statement this time last year, you would have thought I was crazy because John Wolford was a marginal quarterback going into 2017, and he proved to be one of the best in the ACC this past season. He exploded onto the scene. He was aided by an offensive line that developed into one of the best in the conference, and the wide receivers that came out of nowhere. So this Wake passing offense in the span of 2 seasons went from number 110 in the nation in pass efficiency and explosive plays to a top 15 status in 2017. That's how good they were. But Wolford's gone. Now, a guy that he regularly battled for the starting quarterback position, Kendall Hinton, will be the starter. Wolford was the passer, Hinton the runner. In his career, a 54% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and 10 rushing touchdowns. So he has played 17 career games. So he's not used to standing on the sideline for too long and not seeing the field. So he's got experience, but he's not a polished passer. He's a runner. So it's an adjustment in the offense. And Hinton, what's he do with this opportunity? He blows it by violating unspecified team rules back in June. So he's going to miss the first 3 games of the season. Now, fortunately for Wake, the first 2 games are against Tulane and Towson. They should win those 2 games, but against Boston College in week 3, who do they go with? Well, they've got Jamie Newman. He was the 16th rated dual threat quarterback in the nation, according to 247 Sports in the 2016 class. He's a redshirt sophomore. Or they could go with the true freshman and Sam Hartman, who is the 32nd rated prospect at the pro style category, according to 247 Sports. So it's either Newman or Hartman winning the job temporarily for those 3 games, waiting for Kendall Hinton to show up week 4 against Notre Dame at home. So that's even a difficult assignment, coming off the bench cold to take on the Irish in week 4. But it's 3 games of football without their starting quarterback and one of these 2 guys who's basically not played any college football. All right, they do throw the football to one of the best wide receivers in the nation, in Greg Dortch. He caught 53 passes last year for 9 touchdowns. And also Scotty Washington, 45 catches and 3 touchdowns. One of their top wideouts, Tabari Hines, is transferred to Oregon. Matt Coburn basically carries the running game. He ran for almost 1,000 yards and 5.4 yards per carry and 7 touchdowns. There's basically no other experienced player behind Coburn in the offense. Fortunately, the entire offensive line is back, including all ACC center Ryan Anderson and 2 second-teamers in Justin Herron and Phil Haynes. So the offense in good shape if Hinton develops as a passer. He does provide the team the running threat that they didn't have with John Wolford. All right, the front 4 defensive line is outstanding, has been for the last 2 years, but they lose tons of production. Potential standouts in the front 7 would include Justin Sterrend, 8.5 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks. You've got Willie Yarberry. He had 7.5 tackles for loss and 4 sacks. You've got also Carlos Basham and redshirt freshman Mike Allen. They really like him. He was a top recruit for them 2 years ago. All right, the secondary could be one of the best in the ACC. It's that good. They've got playmakers all over the place. They've got guys that are proven, productive players and have really flashed big time, including quarterback Asang Bassi. 75 tackles, 6 tackles for loss, and 3 interceptions. You've got Amari Henderson at the other corner spot with 2 picks and 62 tackles, and also the safety in Cameron Glenn, who led the team with 98 tackles, and he had 2 interceptions as well. Place kicker Mike Weaver was really good, 21 of 25, but he's gone, so they've got to replace their place kicker as well. And you know Wake, they're going to play a lot of close games within that Atlantic Division against the likes of Boston College and Syracuse, Louisville, and North Carolina State, which brings us to the schedule. We talked about Tulane and Towson out of the gate. Got to win those games, and also Boston College in Week 3, and there's no Kendall Hinton available for those games. All right, Notre Dame Week 4 with Kendall Hinton back in the lineup, unless one of those other 2 quarterbacks, Newman or Hartman, just blows the top off the defense and plays so well that they've got to play him against Notre Dame. And, of course, their test is going to be Week 3 against Boston College. So you need to go 3-1 minimum in the non-conference games, and most likely the loss at home against Notre Dame. All right, in the Coastal Division, it's pretty light touch for Wake Forest here in taking on Pitt and Duke. Their toughest stretch of the season starts October 6th when they take on Clemson, go to Florida State, and then go to Louisville as well. Clemson, Florida State, Louisville, 3 consecutive games in October. This Wake Forest program has continued to rise and take step after step after step under Dave Clawson. They got to a bowl game 2 years ago, and they upset Temple as a double-digit underdog. Last season, they arrived against Texas A&M, and they won another bowl game under Dave Clawson to finish 8-5 and improve by 1 win. It's going to be difficult to get to 9 wins this season. It's going to be difficult considering the out-of-conference slate with Notre Dame, no Kendall Hinton for the first 3 games, and a very tough Atlantic schedule again for Wake Forest to not only progress, but to get back to postseason play. This is what I see for Wake. They beat Syracuse. They win the 3 non-conference games that we talked about. And then among the collection of Boston College, Louisville, Pitt, and Duke, they split those 4 games. They finish with 3 wins in the ACC. They get back to a bowl game at 6-6. The progress at least temporarily stops for Dave Clawson at Wake, but they do make another bowl game. My look at the Demon Deacons. Would like to hear what you have to say. Give me your prediction on Wake football, both in the ACC and overall, down in the comments section as we continue our look at the Power 5 with all our predictions. And we keep it going here in the ACC, right here at Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football.